The paper lacks the originality, spontaneity, and unique novelty that the original Office had.
Consumers have a huge nostalgia issue, and it's not just with movies and shows, it's with music and sports, video games and culture. The previous version of whatever is usually looked at in a good light, even when it shouldn't be at times. So when you have these reboots and spin-off and sequels, there is going to be a level of expectation that in most cases are unfair, because when you produce greatness once, you are going to be expected to produce it again and again. I believe Atla is the greatest American cartoon all time. Fight me on it. The following sequel, The Legend of Korra, is nowhere near the greatest. And of course, bad writing, lack of character development, and the worst love triangle I've ever watched, etc. was a huge factor in it not being better. But I can't help but think that the bar already being so high kind of ruined the show before it started. And since we are talking about greatness, let's talk about the... Although the paper is a spin-off, I want to take time to glaze how good The Office is. Now, of course, it is a comedy show that's actually funny, but there are so many other factors that make the show so interesting. The love affairs and romances brewing in The Office, the relatability of being in a workplace of a 9 to 5. We're talking about character development in a comedy show. A show with 9 seasons, and I still watch it almost every year from start to finish. Talk about rewatchability. The Office Dead might be the greatest background show all time, and there's a reason the show has lasted this long and has so many fans. I do have an Office hot take. Hear me out. Karen was a better fit for Jim than Pam. I said it.
Hold up.
I said it. Jim and Pam are good for each other. Karen and Jim were great. You see, Pam needs Jim. Jim doesn't need Pam. And I promise you, this ain't got nothing to do with man-woman dynamics. I don't know. Jim was so vastly different from Roy because he paid attention to her. He fully supported her art career and would have supported any venture that she took. He gave her a spark and a playful energy to not be so serious all the time, to just completely be herself and let loose. And I already know your argument is going to be, oh, Pam does that for Jim too. That's the problem. I believe that Karen would have helped Jim evolve. And although it made for great TV, Jim had a maturity problem. With the pranks and the antics, the amount of years Jim spent at Dunder Mifflin showed that he was complacent. You know another person that struggled with this same issue? Pam. The more you rewatch and realize how up the situation between Karen and Jim was, she sacrificed and moved to another city for the relationship, and sometimes she would show her fun side by indulging in these pranks with Jim, but overall she wanted him to mature. And deep down, Jim also wanted more for himself. We seen it when he tried to go for the Philly job. Listen, the build up between Jim and Pam was elite television, and I'm not knocking their connection because it is good. Hey, and I was even rooting for them. I just genuinely think that Jim should have chose Karen. Think about it. Alright, I'm done yapping about The Office. Let's actually talk about the show. The infamous business known as Dunder Mifflin has ceased, and the documentary crew that filmed their antics is following the paper. You get it? Because it's called The Paper. A news article company named The Truth Teller and their new awkward manager is looking to give the paper back its prestige. Now, even though it's the same crew and even, you know, a familiar face, this is not The Office, and it shouldn't be expected to.
It feels like a Xerox of a Xerox of a Xerox. It's a program that exists to attempt to recapture the magic of the long-running sitcom, but without any real point to make. The show is literally about a journalistic endeavor struggling to justify its existence. This sounds like a background that is primed for the narrative conflicts that speak to today's issues. The problem is, because it's related to The Office, the show can't actually make any real points or criticize any of the current political climate. It's a show that's not allowed to have bite. Once every few episodes, the show tries to brush up against actually important topics, but it usually executes those ideas in the safest and most cotton swab marshmallow way possible.
And I think they'll have a lot of comparisons to The Office. So it's not as funny as The Office. And that's okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be. If it's 2/3 as funny as The Office, it's still going to be funnier than anything else on TV. Sorry.
I agree.
The Office had a lot of room and opportunity to do another spin-off based off of certain characters. I would have loved a Dwight Schrute spin-off. And I even heard that they thought about it, they just didn't go through with it.
Filmed a spin-off of The Office, focused on Dwight's life on his beet farm. NBC passed on it. Will we ever see it?
You are going to see it. It's called The Farm, and we shot it as, they call it a backdoor pilot. So it stands as an episode of The Office where there's a funeral on Dwight's farm, and you get to meet other members of Dwight's family.
Oh my gosh, what could have been? But I don't hate the direction that they chose to take with this show. I think the show is funny with its dry humor. I like the direction that they took of writing for the paper instead of selling it. And just like Dunder Mifflin, traditional journalism is dying. The brewing possible romantic interest, the new manager's awkward personality fitting into The Office. It's honestly a very similar feeling when watching The Office, just more awkward. Actually, Ned the manager is just really awkward in general. Honestly, didn't have high expectations with the show. Good show to have in the background. It's personal enough to keep you engaged, to make you want to watch. Like, it's cool. I didn't like at first that Oscar wasn't getting much screen time, but he's worked his way into it and started talking more. I don't think season 1 is great, but I don't think it had to be.
It changed. I mean, but it changed 5 years after we were done.
From the streaming.
I remember the conversation that I had with Rain. I called Rain and I said, why does it feel like the show is bigger now than it was when it was on? And he just like right away said, because it is. In the beginning was anecdotal, right? It's like, not that, I mean, it was a big show. So I'm not saying that, but like suddenly, I can't walk through the airport. And then the streaming numbers came out and they started gradually revealing some of those. And it's like, not only were we number one, but like we were number one, doubling what number 2 was in all of television. Crazy in the fact that I think it's unprecedented in television that a show got significantly bigger once it was done.
I think the show did just enough to gear you up for a season 2, and it shows you that it does have potential, which for its first season, what more can you really ask for? Is it crazy to think that not every show or movie has to be great, especially when they're building off of a concept that already exists? How many comedic hood classics had to be great in order for you to enjoy them? If the goal is to make you laugh and for you to have a good time, what's the problem? There is nothing wrong with a feel good, a show or movie that when you put it on, it just feels good to watch. It's enjoyable. Some people call it a comfort show and they can't really explain to other people that, I mean, it isn't great, but it's something that I enjoy to watch. Different genres exist for a reason, and I don't think that everything that we watch should have heavy criticism around it. The Office became more popular when it was finished. I don't think people had high expectations of The Office being this crazy great show until it showed you that it could be a great show. Some things just need time, and I'm not even saying that I think that this show will be as great as The Office. I'm just saying, give it a shot. It's completely fine if you disagree, but I felt that it was a fun watch. It gave me the nostalgia of The Office with the theme song, a similar setting in Ed work environment, while providing us with a new story to follow. If you're out of shows to watch, have watched or even haven't watched The Office, give it a shot. Try to enjoy yourself. And if you can't, that's fine too, because not everything has to be great, and that's okay.